And so if we think in terms of steps, we have the production, you have the processing, and we have the distribution. And who controls at the moment that? You see it's corporations, the seeds, who control the seeds? Big Monsantos, big ADMs, all these, the big companies, corporations that took the seeds from the farmers.
One thing that we have to emphasize, we have to tell these big people of the world, the financial institutions, the World Banks, IMFs, FAOs, leaders of powerful countries, you can't do this. Please admit that you can't do this and give it up. Don't plan for others. The fault that many of us have is that we depend on them to find solutions and find plans to solve the problems. The very creators of these problems, people who are surviving on creating problems and are profiting by creating problems, are asked to find solutions. It doesn't work.
We are doing it under very hardship conditions because of trade liberalization. There's a lot of import food into our country.
If you listen to secretaries of state in this country talking about the future of agriculture, they say farmers have got to be more productive in this country, we've got to produce more in this country, but then they add, but you've got to be more you've got to be competitive. In other words, we in Britain have got to produce more, but we've got to do it more cheaply than the Brazilians who have sunshine and space, and we've got to do it more cheaply than the Kenyans who also have, well, you have sunshine, I think you've got less and less space as time goes on. And they're being told the same thing. They've got to compete with us, and we have technology and money and big machines and all the rest of it. It's just a ludicrous, contrived battle between different kinds of farmer in different parts of the world.
The British government, through the bilateral agreement that they have made, for example, with the projects of DFID, they are doing a lot of work with large-scale farmers, really helping the large-scale farmers in terms of resources. But to the small-scale farmers, they find that we are too many to deal with us, so they would rather deal with a few. So there is nothing actually they are doing. But they're saying that when they're helping the large-scale farmers, that will trickle down to the small-scale farmers, and there is no connection at all.
So the solution was not for the hungry people.
If you want to maximize your money that you get in the shortest time in a country like ours, then you have to go down the industrial route. You have to cut labour, because labour is the thing that costs the most money. You have to get the maximum possible yield, because, as they used to say in Tesco, pile them high and sell them cheap. It's not a question of producing enough food to feed the human species. It's a question of producing as much as you possibly can and then selling it for the highest possible price. This is very dangerous. This is incredibly wasteful. It is, in fact, the cause of the world's food problems.
There are three things that we need to ask the governments: stop the supermarkets, stop the speculation of food, stop the land grabbing in all around the globe.
Imagining that if the present situation continues, none of us will survive. People who are able to find solutions are people who want to find solutions. And these are people who have the problems.
If we're going to get out of this mess, then we, as it were, ordinary human beings, ordinary Joes, we have to do it ourselves. The governments are not going to do it. Big industry isn't going to do it. They're using our taxpayers' money to do something entirely different. We have to do it ourselves.
But it is us as people who can make a difference.
Si no lo hubiéramos hecho así, nos hubiéramos muerto de hambre.
And that is what now we are promoting under food sovereignty.
It simply says that people have the right to decide what kind of food they want to eat, what kind of food they want to produce, how they would like to produce their food, where they want to produce their food, and what kind of culturally appropriate food that they want to eat and want to produce. This is a very, very simple thing.
So that's why I want to name the principles of food sovereignty: right to food for everyone, agrarian reform, the reorganization of trade, stop corporations controlling our food. We need to have social peace, democratic control.
Lo principal para mí que ha aportado la agricultura urbana y periurbana es que personas que hasta el año 91 se consideraban solamente consumidores, de pronto se dieron cuenta de que podían también participar en la producción de su propia comida.
Tremendous good news to the poor. They are going to save themselves, they are going to save the rest of the world, including the rich. But one important thing is that this good news to the poor has to be real bad news to the rich. Unless you make it bad news to the rich, it doesn't work.
If we could only feed everybody in the world well, then, most of our, in a sense, not all our problems disappear, but everything else we think we take seriously, like world peace and personal fulfillment and all those things, become possible.